Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 146th video on my video journal series. Today's date is Saturday, the 4th of July, 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And today, I'll be giving my thoughts on the new Jackass movie, Jackass Best and Last. Now, just a mini, warning that even though I'll be trying to do a spoiler-free review of the movie, there might be some, spoilers unintentionally attached to this review, or I might give a little bit too much away because I am a little bit tired, so I might, do a slip of the tongue. So yeah, this isn't going to be, 100% spoiler-free review. Even though I'll try to keep it, as spoiler-free as possible. So yeah, I highly recommend you go watch the movie. If you haven't seen it, and if you're a Jackass fan, I recommend to see it in theaters where you can and when you can. But yes, so that's just my little warning here. Even though I'll try to be keeping this spoiler free, there might still be some minor spoilers within this review. But that's just, the nature of all my reviews. I always got to add that notice, even if I may not intend to make this review, one that has spoilers in it. So anyway, yeah, so my thoughts on Jackass Best and Last, which is that'll be the fifth mainline Jackass movie. And obviously I saw this in theaters yesterday, but I was too tired to make a video about that yesterday, so that's why I'm talking about it today. Yes, so I think, this movie was a very good send-off for the series. Would I rank it in my, top three Jackass movies? Well, that's a little bit hard to tell. Like, my favorite Jackass movie so far is most probably Jackass 4, or maybe Jackass 3, like at number 1, and then maybe this movie will be like, oh man, it's really hard. Like, would I consider it to be, even like second place in the series? Most probably not, because this movie has a lot of, old material in it. It features old and new stunts. I'll say that, out of the entire movie, maybe they have like four original stunts, four or five, which isn't by any means bad per se, because this movie yet again incorporates some of the most iconic stunts in the series, iconic clips that fans and cast members love. So yeah, obviously, that was a given. But whilst I wouldn't say like this would be my, top three Jackass films, I feel like it doesn't really need to be in my top three. All it needs to do is just be a very good send off for the series. And I think this movie is a very, very good send off for the series. Yeah, sure, it has, some old footage put into it, but, it creates emotion, all right? It creates, that, like, vivid nostalgia for Jackass fans and people who enjoy the original series of films and even the original TV show. Um, and I think the way that they incorporate the old and the new is very well done. It made me a little bit emotional in the movie theater when, you had Johnny Knoxville saying, "Welcome to Jackass one last time," Um, but yeah, the new stunts which they incorporated in this movie, obviously I don't want to give too much away, but I found them to be like pretty relevant to today's era, you know. Um, man, my favorite stunt in the movie, oh man, it was probably had to do with that robot that they had on set. Obviously, I'm not going to give too much away, but all the stunts where they had that like robot assistant, I just loved, right? Because obviously it relates to, I guess, now I guess it relates to um, you know the I guess the AI revolution nowadays, where we're fearful of robots and AI taking over everything. But even though that robot was, I guess, voiced by human through a voice changer, um, and would have been controlled remotely off screen, I feel like it was a very very, I guess, um, loud comments at, I guess, AI, and made me think, well, AI still got like a long way to go. We wouldn't have robots, um, doing these sorts of things in society like a human would. Um, it's just my, I guess, daily reminder that robots still can't, I guess, probably be at the same level with humans in terms of um, you know doing certain tasks which are evident within the movie, but I don't want to give it away. So yeah, all the scenes with the robot in it, I just found hilarious, and I'm sure you would have found them hilarious if you watched it in the theater, and you're just looking at this video just to see what some guy on the internet thinks about the movie. But anyway, um, and yeah, like obviously the movie is MA-15 here in Australia, and overseas, will be restricted as well. A reminder not to do any other stunts in that movie, but they do like incorporate like some very, very intense footage. They incorporated that scene where Johnny Knoxville. This is an older clip where he dresses up as a prison inmate, and then he walks around the streets of like West Hollywood. He goes inside of a store asking him, "Oh, do you have anything that could like free these handcuffs that I'm wearing?" Obviously, that was a very controversial clip when it was recorded back in the year. I think it was the year 2000, and I forgot like the name of the clip and all that, but I know that it came with like serious repercussions. They weren't allowed to film in that spot for like 10 years, and the police were called, and there's a bunch of like Jackass fans which can do a better job at me explaining this, but they did incorporate like some of the most, I guess, infamous scenes of the franchise into the film. Um, you know, just like the opening cinematic. By that I mean, not the opening cinematic where they're all introduced. Sorry, the opening cinematic of Johnny Knoxville, how Jackass started. Um, that, I guess, um, opening. What would you call it? Opening, not movie, but like, I'll just call it introduction. The introduction of the movie. Pretty much tells you, you know, what Jackass is essentially. It's just like a bunch of stunt performers. I'm gonna call them stunt performers, doing like crazy stuff, borderline very dangerous stuff. That scene where beginning of the film where Johnny Knoxville's in the desert and he wears the bulletproof vests and obviously try and does a very stupid thing. And then, obviously that mini like archive clip ends, and then you get like the introduction of all the Jackass cast members, where they're all in that room, and then the floor moves around. Um, yeah, I found that, I guess, now what I'm referring to as the opening cinematic or whatever. There's always one in a Jackass movie. I found that to be pretty inventive as well. The music, the coordination, the idea of it was very well thought out and executed. And, it made me yet again emotional. Like these were things we took for granted in every like Jackass movie, but now it's going to be like the last time they do it. So, yeah, and then obviously, that's the whole introduction of the movie, sorted. Um, and obviously, the movie incorporates like real life, um, like sort of like a documentary style of documentary style of how would you call it? Because it opens up with like you know Johnny Knoxville saying to I guess the camera, "Oh, this is going to be like the very last time I do this." It's like a documentary, um, style of film. That's right, documentary style of film. But then it obviously cuts to the regular Jackass format. You got someone introducing to the camera, "Hello, this my name is X, and this is X stunt." Um, straightforward. You know, I'll call it plot in this instance, even though Jackass movies don't really have a plot. It's just like a compilation. But um, yeah, then obviously you got the various stunts within the movie. You might recognize some old stunts, but they do have a few new ones mixed in there. And yeah, it's just like it's filled with a lot of laughs and gasps, and you obviously it would, I guess, gross out some people, but for Jackass fans like me, we like that sort of thing. um, and I guess like what other pros about the movie can I think of? No, I just thought it was a very nice sort of like a memorial, you know, um, commemorated I guess the end of the series very nicely. Um, obviously I would have liked to see more original stunts throughout the movie, but yet again, though, if this is the last Jackass movie they're ever going to make, I'd rather um, make it sort of like a best of rather than just like, all right, well, we're just going to repeat the same formula, or we just do new stunts and nothing else. They did introduce a few new cast members in this movie. And I thought to myself, hey, if this is going to be the last Jackass movie, then why are they introducing new cast members? Obviously, it's good to see new people on camera, but I thought to myself, oh, well, they're only going to be in like one movie, if you know what I mean. But and obviously, when I was watching the credits, I swear I saw some like unused footage in the credits, and I wouldn't be too surprised. But like I said yesterday, I'm pretty sure they're not releasing a point 0.5 version of this movie. That is like with every Jackass movie from Jackass 2, they always release the point 0.5 version. 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, which is basically the sort of uh, director's cut. It has like all the unused footage and stunts and behind the scenes. Yeah, apparently with this movie, they're not going to do a point 0.5 version, um, and that makes me a little bit sad. At least put some of the unused scenes on the Blu-ray. Um, but yeah, like I guess we will never be able to, I guess, really know until the home media release comes out. But even then, we wouldn't get access to all the unused material from this movie, which is a little bit sad. Um, and man, what else about the movie? I should have written my points down, but um, yeah, like um, like I said, I wouldn't, I guess, put this in my. Well, obviously, I don't want to be too harsh on this movie. I feel like it's a very good movie, a very good send off. I wouldn't, I guess, necessarily rank it within my top three per se, but by no means would I ever classify it as a bad movie. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a very good movie. I just feel like it does its job of acting as a final goodbye very well. And like obviously, my only wish is that this movie was a little bit longer. The fact that I would have seen like more original stuff as like a fan, but yet again, those aren't really like harsh criticisms of this movie. They're just what I would have liked to see. Um, and I guess obviously this will be the last time I'll be able to go to movie theater and watch a brand new Jackass movie. Um, and yeah, like honestly, and I've kind of dipped into like the quote unquote cons of the movie, but yet again, uh, it's really hard to, I guess, come up with like very harsh criticism for the movie. Um, you know, I mean, it's Jackass, right? You're not going to compare it to like Shawshank Redemption. I mean, they're both movies, but they're both movies with a different purpose. All right. Um, but yeah, I remember the movie theater I went to. It was quite a um, in terms of like area, right? It was quite large, but there's only a few people around me. But we all, heard each other laugh and, scream at certain stunts. And, it was a very lively atmosphere, even if it was just like me and five or six other people. Um, but yeah, um, I'm just trying to think of anything else. Not really. Yeah, just to I guess cap this video off. Jackass, best and last. It's a very good send off for the Jackass film series. It incorporates some old and new footage, and it doesn't matter if you're like I guess a fan of the series. You can be a newcomer and watch this movie and still get the same enjoyment as a lifelong fan. I think it serves as a really good thank you letter for Jackass fans, and obviously my only wish is that there's more of it, but um, that's the nature of like a send off movies, right? You're supposed to like create a very sweet feeling, Obviously, you want fan favorite, cast favorite. So let me rephrase this. Obviously, you want like fan favorite um, moments. You want some moments that the cast like, and obviously, you need new material in there. And I think this movie does like a sort of good balance between old and new. And the new stuff which they put in this movie, I feel like it's relevant today's age of like AI and yeah, especially with like robots and technology. Uh, and you know, I feel like this movie will still be relevant in 10, 20, even 30 years time. Um, um, and yeah, like I said, it's just a very good, um, very good movie to I guess conclude the series with. Um, and yet again, my only wish is that I could see more, but yet again, I can't exactly because everything good must come to an end. And yeah, I would recommend this movie to anyone who's obviously a fan of the Jackass movie series, or just I guess serious series as a whole, and even just to like I guess newcomers to the franchise. It may seem a little bit squeamish, a little bit disgusting at first, but trust me, it is very entertaining to watch. Um, I've heard of stories of how some people used to watch Jackass during like science class and all that. It's just like a regular thing. People classify Jackass as quote unquote science, and it's something I would have loved to watch in school, but probably would have not. Um, I guess been popular with the teachers or parents, let's say. But yeah, and obviously, this movie is MA 15 restricted here in Australia. Um, so you have to be of a certain age to yet again watch this movie. And just a reminder that some of the I guess elements within this movie, even if it was created 20, 25 years ago, they're very like I guess deep and sort of dark. It does incorporate some I guess very mature theme, but yet again, though, that's just the nature of our rating system, and obviously, um, that's what I guess Jackass is sort of about. But yeah, it was kind of like I guess, for me, it was a little bit surprising that they added, you know, those clips which I mentioned earlier, right? The stuff produced in, I think it was the year 2000, right, where Johnny Knoxville was like that fake inmate, that like infamous scene shot in West Hollywood. I didn't think they were actually going to include that in a Jackass movie, but yet again, it's a piece of like Jackass history, so obviously they would include something like that. And I think they include any bits from Jackass number 4, which was that movie that released back in 2022, Jackass Forever. I don't think they did. I might be wrong. Maybe they included like one bit from that movie, but yeah, most of the clips of like the Jackass heyday, Jackass 1, 2, 3. Um, you know, the I think my favorite old stunt must have been like the poo cocktail, which obviously it is quite like a old stunt, but I don't want to spoil it. It is a little bit disgusting though, but it's one of my favorite. Um, I guess it's one of my favorite stunts from like the older series, the older movies. And yeah, I think I'll give this movie a solid. What am I gonna give it? A solid 7.5 out of 10 in terms of how much I enjoy it. Yet again, though, I'm no Siskel and Ebert. I don't really give, I guess, critical ratings, rather just ratings based on how much I enjoyed this movie and recommend it to others. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10, which is, that I like this movie. It's very good. Maybe 7.5 to like 8 out of 10. All right. Because obviously, I would put like my favorite Jackass movie to most probably be like Jackass 4, Jackass number 3 at the very top. But yeah, yet again, this movie really, I guess, um, sends a very nice farewell. And it's better to end with a good movie than to end with a bad one. So I'm kind of glad that they, I guess, finally called it quits. I can't believe Jackass is nearly like 3 decades old, but it's nice that there'll be it's nice, obviously, that they've, I guess, concluded the series on a high note, in my opinion. Because yeah, Jackass number 4, which only released 4 years ago as of recording this video, that had like some pretty serious stunts in it, and I never thought they were going to do like another movie after that. But yeah, I think best and last, just in like the title, it's the best and last, best and last stunts of the series, and yeah, again, um, kind of saddens me that this will be the last time I can watch a Jackass movie in the theaters, and that's why I decided to watch this movie in theaters. And I'll most likely buy it on Blu-ray as well, and hopefully the case isn't broken, because the first video on this channel was me ranting about how I bought a Jackass movie on Blu-ray, but the case was broken. But anyway, yeah, yet again though, if you're a Jackass fan, then I recommend you go watch this movie. It's in theaters now. I'm not paid to endorse this movie or whatever. I'm just doing it because I obviously like the series, and I'm sure many of you would also like the series and would enjoy this movie as well. But anyway, that's enough of me talking, and I guess I'll catch you all later. Bye, see you, take care. Catch you all tomorrow.